Congressman Jamie Raskin's a Democrat of Maryland. He served on the January 6th committee. He's the ranking member of the Oversight Committee, and he joins me now. How much insight do you and your caucus have into what is happening now? Because we were having a conversation today. I mean, we're really out past precedent here. Hasn't really happened. No one really knows what happens next. We were having a conversation today about trying to game this out. It's just kind of hard to say. What's your understanding?
Well, on the House floor on the Democratic side, there were discussions today at the macro level and the micro level. And at the macro level, we are seeing this in the context of a series of attacks by the MAGA rule or ruin faction on the constitutional order. And it began on January 6th with a violent insurrection and an attempted political coup to overthrow President Biden's victory in the Electoral College. Then we went to the Republicans trying to sabotage any investigation into what happened on January 6th. We know that Kevin McCarthy pulled the plug even on their own plan for an outside bipartisan commission. Then we went from there to an attempt to default on the debts of the United States. Then we went from there to an attempt to shut down the government of the United States. And now they're trying to install one of the critical pro-insurrection, pro-political coup actors in the House, if not the key one, as the Speaker of the House. So it's a remarkable moment. Now, in terms of the daily back and forth and the inside Machiavellian moves, we get it secondhand, of course. We're not there in the Republican conference. But I will tell you that many of us were told on the way in today that at most the GOP defectors amounted to around 10 or a dozen, and they got 20 votes. And I think that they were planning on going to the second or third ballot today. Right. And obviously the pro-Jordan forces needed at least a day or a night to try and regroup to go after the large numbers of unexpected votes against him.
Yeah, I should note that the Democratic minority leader, Hakeem Jeffries, got more votes than Jim Jordan did today. And in fact, we're at a first past the post election. He would be the speaker. It's not the way it works in the U.S. Constitution. You need an outright majority of those seated. Here's what Hakeem Jeffries said about bipartisan conversations that are happening about resolving this speakership crisis. Take a listen.
I have no meetings planned with McHenry, but high-level members on the Democratic side of the aisle are ready, willing, and able to have those conversations. There have been ongoing informal conversations that have been undertaken over the last few days. I think there's a possibility those can accelerate now that Jim Jordan clearly does not have the votes to be Speaker.
Would you be open to some kind of pact, some sort of deal struck to elect a Speaker that was a Republican, but in exchange for some sort of demands on rules or a vote on a CR or something like that?
Well, obviously, we favor Hakeem Jeffries. This was the 16th time we've voted unanimously and passionately for Hakeem Jeffries. He's a super well-organized, efficient, effective leader, and you can take him at his word. He's totally trustworthy. But if we can't get 6 Republicans to come over to our side, I've said from the beginning there are a number of Republicans that I could support on a principled power-sharing basis, assuming that our caucus were to endorse that. And we operate as a caucus. We're not out there wheeling and dealing on our own. But one of the things that I've said from the beginning is Liz Cheney would be a perfect choice herself. She was the chair of the Republican conference. She was the number 3 Republican for several years while we were here, a very conservative Republican, but she believes in the constitutional order, and so we trust her. Mitt Romney is another name that has been floated as someone who we could trust. Angus King, who's the independent from Maine, is another person that we could look at. And a lot of my colleagues, Chris, come from states where there have been state legislative power sharing arrangements where gavels are shared, half of the committees to one side, half to the other side. The parties can take turns holding the gavel during the week. It would be a very positive thing for us. We need to get aid to our Democratic allies in Ukraine and in Israel. We need to keep the government going. This is a very serious condition that the GOP chaos has plunged us into right now.